And we are getting to the end of this live stream of the IoT Show at IoT Stars. I think the rest of the IoT Stars event is also kicking up. So we're going to do that one nice and neat. Kevin is with us. Kevin, how are you? Thanks for coming.
Good to see you, Olivier. Yeah.
So Kevin, tell us, what are you? What are you working for? Why are you here?
Yeah, so I'm a director of product management at DigiCert on our device trust product line, which is a euphemism for IoT security. So we build products that help secure the Internet of Things. So device-side products, device management products, crypto products, over-the-air update products, and certificates. That's our bread and butter. So that's kind of what we've done historically.
Awesome. Yeah, it's awesome. It's something that security is not too often an afterthought. It used to be an afterthought. I don't think it is anymore. I think companies are more and more concerned about security and consider security as a key aspect of their IoT development. I think it's super interesting. Before we get into the serious stuff, I wanted to ask you, same question I ask everyone. What is the most interesting, innovative, or stupid IoT device you ever encountered?
Actually, I have a good one. Back at Microsoft, when you and I both were there, I worked with a partner to integrate IoT with the HoloLens. So it was the HoloLens 2. And the use case was vehicle mechanics. So when they got the hood up on a car, wouldn't it be cool for a mechanic, instead of using their greasy fingers to type into a 20-year-old PC piece of junk, right, is to use the HoloLens and actually see exploding parts diagrams and be able to read and swipe through the user manual and the product, for a starter, an alternator, right inside the HoloLens. And then we also built, what we made IoT is we built an OBD2 reader that would stream. So we'd plug it in the port in the cart and it would stream real telemetry, including trouble codes, to the HoloLens. So the mechanic could simply click through the HoloLens and clear out trouble codes and do all sorts of interesting stuff. And so the partner was going to commercialize it. Unfortunately, Microsoft kind of abandoned their investment in HoloLens, so kind of killed that.
That's a bummer. Someone will pick something up there anyways. So tell me, Kevin, what's going on at DigiCert? DigiCert was not known for IoT, per se, right?
Yeah.
What's particular in your line of work at DigiCert that IoT developers should be aware of?
Yeah, so, we're in Europe here, and so the big thing now is EU Cyber Resiliency Act. So that's a big one. Even today at Embedded World, the sessions for CRA were full. So I think last year when I talked about CRA, it was like, it's coming, but we're in denial. I think Europe was in a denial phase. Now they've reached acceptance, and it's the stages of grieving, right? Now they're at acceptance, and now it's like, oh my God, what are we going to do? And so the room was full, and unfortunately, I think some of the CRA requirements are going to put some companies out of business because they're so onerous. They're a good thing. Like, we're raising the posture of security across the Internet of Things.
Sometimes it's too much.
But if you're selling like a $20 smart bulb, like, how much margin do you have left anymore, right? So it'll be interesting to see. So we're trying to make security in our product lines that we deliver to our customers both cost effective for them, right? And then the second big thing is now, it's kind of 1-2 punch, is now the move to the new quantum resistant crypto algorithms. So NIST in the US, ratified 3 of them last fall. So now we've got about 10 years to get off all of RSA and elliptical curve and replace every certificate in the world, and across mobile apps, web apps, and of course the Internet of Things. So it's like a 1-2 punch. It's like Y2K without a date, except NIST has given us a date now to get off, because they fully anticipate quantum computers to be able to break RSA and elliptical curve pretty soon. So the combination of PQC...
Well, you can stop all quantum computing development, right?
Yeah, we could stop that.
Try. That's where we're going, right?
Yeah.
You remove the threat.
Yeah. So we're trying to help our customers stay above water with these incoming things, plus do all the proper security.
How do you start today and be future-proof with this kind of progress that are actually putting you even more at risk than how do you do it? What's your approach for being future-proof? When you build an IoT device, you build it for the next 10
Exactly. Yeah.
And yes, you start having over-the-air updates capabilities and things like that. But what's your take and suggestion if someone was architecturing, thinking a device that will have to be 10 years, 20 years, in production, working? how do they ensure they're still safe in 20 years from now?
Yeah, it's like you got to look into the future a little bit. And that future is the CRA, right? A little bit of crystal ball stuff.
Yeah.
We know the future involves transition of quantum safe algorithms. We know those are for sure, right?
Okay.
And we see some other emerging trends around AI at the edge, et cetera. And then we need security on the models so they aren't tampered with, et cetera. But those ones we know now. So we're like actually now implementing those things. So in our products at DigiCert, we've already implemented all the PQC stuff, over-the-air updates. We know customers will need that to get ready for these products. So if you have a new greenfield product you're launching and it's going to have a lifespan of 7 or 8 years, EU CRA actually tells us now you have to actually announce your lifespan to your customers on your box, on your product.
Yeah, it feels like it's common sense, though.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's good that it's regulated.
Yeah. And you just can't turn off these security updates if you want to. Like you can't.
Yeah.
Right? EU will come and, give you problems.
Rightfully so.
Yeah.
It's like
so
daddy and mommy are telling you.
Yeah. So to prepare, there's certain things we know now.
Yeah.
We don't know it all, but we know now what's going to happen, at least for a few years now. We can get our customers prepared.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
One thing I like with you, Kevin, is trying to talk security. You're not the one that's trying to scare people out or play the big boogeyman.
Big hackers.
They're in big trouble, whatever, or making too much fun of it. You're constructive. I like that. That's an approach I really like and is refreshing in security, I think, personally. So, kudos to you.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Kudos to you, man.
Yeah.
Well, Kevin, awesome for coming. Your glass of light. Everyone, thanks for tuning in.
Yeah.
We're going to have all these videos available on demand as well. If you are at Embedded World and watching right now, don't forget to stop by all the booths of the people who talked today. If you want to continue the conversation, ask questions you've not asked, and we'll see you soon.
All right. Thanks, Olivier.
Yeah. Bye, everyone.